Up. And now we're live, friend.
Oh, yay. Okay, let
Here
me
we
find it on
are.
your page.
Okay.
Give give our friends a moment to join us.
Yes.
How was your day, Sherra?
You know, I actually like Mondays, so I'm going to tell you right now, it was a challenging, but it was a good Monday. Hi, Katie. Yay. Let us know when
Wait,
you're in the house. Hey, friends.
wait, our Katie?
Our Katie. Your Katie, who I'm gonna own as my Katie. It
Okay, here we
was
go.
challenging, but it was a good Monday.
Okay.
Hi, Katie. There's a
I'm
delay.
yep, sorry about that. Let me get this figured out.
Yay. Hi, Lori. Stephanie is in the house. Hi, Laura. Yay. Our people are here.
Our Laura, wait, which Laura? I can't handle this. This is not fair. They need to put something in chat.
They are in chat. You should be able to see our chat.
Oh, wait. Okay, I'm in the wrong place. Hold on. I'm in private chat. Oh, it is
Nope.
our Katie. Okay.
Good.
Oh, and there's my Laura and your Lori. I guess we
Yeah.
share them.
Yes, we do. So I want to
Okay.
give a quick shout out to my Lori. Lori dropped off donations for me to bring up to Hope for Homies today. And then I got to have a car visit with her. So thank you,
Nice.
Lori. Yay. I'm excited.
Very awesome.
When I go up there on Monday, I will be, or Monday, Wednesday, I will be able to deliver. How was your day, friend?
My day was good. It was busy. It was, but I feel like I got a lot done. I feel like I did a lot of good things, and I'm walking away proud of that. And we'll see how tomorrow goes.
Santa's in the house. Woo woo.
Yay,
Hi,
Santa!
Santa Kurt. Thank you for being here.
I was going to say to Santa last time, but I think we got off or he was off before I could, that someday we'll have to interview Santa on here.
I would love
Um,
that.
yeah. And I would like to say that for those of you that are listening to us talk about Santa, we're not as silly as it sounds. Santa Kurt is really our Santa. Sherra and I have volunteered for many years with the Forgotten Children's Fund, and we have been very fortunate to deliver Christmas presents to families and have our own special Santa, and that isn't who is in the house. So thanks for coming, Santa.
For real. Yeah.
Shira, you mentioned about Lori donating to
Yeah.
where we went on Wednesday. So first, let's introduce ourselves a little quickly, and then I think we should start with our Wednesday because somebody already, Laura Clark, has already asked,
Okay.
"Is there
Yeah.
a list?" So let's jump right in. You go
Okay.
first.
I go first. So, welcome, friends, to Beyond the Classroom. My name is Sherra Grasser, and I am the founder and director of Me Powerment Programs. I'm a youth empowerment coach. I work within school communities. I work one-on-one and offer private, also private groups, communities, working with kids in a more of a peer-led, coach-facilitated community. I love working with the kids, but taking it even bigger than that. I'm really starting to enjoy working with our families and with our school staff and our teachers and supporting the team as a whole. And that's a little bit about how this Beyond the Classroom and Crystal's passion also for youth and families and how this live has taken bloom. All
Yeah.
right, Crystal.
Blooming and growing by the minute.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm Crystal. I am a mom of two. I work at an elementary school and I work at WW, otherwise known as Weight Watchers. And I have a passion for helping in any way I can when it comes to families. And Shara and I do share the same heart when it comes to our kids. It's just a gift. So that's that's me in a nutshell and why I am here and so happy to be able to open up conversation with you, Sherra, and anybody that's wanting to talk and listen. Um, but I'm just so excited to jump right in. I want to know how you found Hope for Homies, where you took me on Wednesday.
Oh,
It was the highlight of my week. And yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
so okay, and boy, Hope for Homies, and we can put this in the chat actually, hopeforhomies.org is the website. And the reason I want you to know the website is because the founder of Hope for Homies and this nonprofit is actually, he has an amazing story of why he does what he does in serving those that are marginalized. So, Hope for Homies is an organization that supports youth who are either wanting to leave gangs, wanting to leave the lifestyle of drug use, absent from school, anything that's not serving. Maybe even have a family member that's incarcerated. Maybe they've been incarcerated, and is looking to change their lives. Nieners, or Jose is his real name. He has his own story, and it's on their website. And he has started this organization. He does a lot of work going out to Glen Echo and supporting many of the youth that are being released or looking at being released, and bringing themselves back out into the world and giving them the support they need. Um, his organization was introduced to me through Sherra Wallace, who is an amazing student support advocate. That's not her real title at Mariner High, but that's what she does. I can't think of what her real title is. If Sarah's here, put it in the chat for us. But Sherra introduced me to this amazing organization because Sherra is much like Crystal and I, and has a huge heart for our youth and wants to reach all youth, not just the youth who continue to show up, but those that are not showing up and those that are really seeking to be seen. And so Sherra got involved with Hope for Homies, Second Chance Outreach. She introduced them to me. I went up a couple Wednesdays ago. I sat in circle and had an amazing opportunity to meet the small amount of youth that are there right now. It's small for two reasons: COVID, but it's also small because it's a program that's in its infancy stages here in Snohomish County. Um, I felt super called to invite Crystal to join me, knowing that we are sisters of the heart when it comes to our youth and really, really reaching those who are in need. And so Crystal and I went up there last Wednesday and sat in circle, um, just shared in the dream of our youth and what these youth are really striving for, and holding that vision and believing in them, and just giving them just hope, just hope. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Crystal.
Well, I just want to jump in because there was a magical moment in this. So what these kids are doing, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if you were invited
Mm-mm.
in, if you walked through this building. These kids look like average everyday youth. They honestly, they do. But they're there. They have a schedule. Some had to leave our circle to go to class, which was seriously impressive. And I peeked around the corner in their class because I wanted to see if they had their camera on or off. And we're going to talk about camera on and off in a minute with Sherra. I'm hoping she'll share that. But these boys had their camera on and they were completely focused in the class in a room by themselves. What the thing that struck me was these kids don't have a safe place at home to be in class. It doesn't feel good to them to be in class when they're at home, or maybe they don't have internet. Maybe they just don't have the drive. I don't know. But what I know is that they come here specifically on these days to be able to get into class and do their work. And they were doing it. Um, but this magical moment, we'd been there for, I don't know, a couple hours. I went, by the way, I took a day off as like a mental health day for myself. I needed to do something that I love to do, and giving to others and volunteering is what makes me feel good. So I'm like, sure, I'll go. I went, sitting there listening to everybody talk, and all of a sudden, Sherra says, hey, you guys, like, I'm just curious. You can share if you want. You don't have to share as much as you want, whatever. But I'm just curious, do you have dreams? Like, what do you want to do? Do you have thoughts of what you want to do? Every single one talked. Every single one had a realistic, logical passion and dream that they wanted to do. One, for example, wants to be a mechanic. And Sherra goes, well, are you already doing things to, I don't know your word, Sherra, but it was like, do you have a path for there? Like, do you know what you need to do to get there? Do you have things, steps? And he said yes, and he laid it out. Like, I don't know. It was just so big, because would these kids really be able to follow through with their dreams if they didn't have somebody that believed in them and guided them and told them they could? I don't know. And so, beautiful moment. I love it, and I wanted to share. So with that, somebody asked, I think it was Laura, asked if they have items
Oh.
to donate. What is there a list? How would they know about what they could donate?
So I am going to have that answer for you all very soon, like Wednesday. When I go up there on Wednesday, I am going to actually find out how those of us that want to support Hope for Homies, what it is that we can donate. So I am going to get a list. So thank you, Laura, for that, so that we can find out what that looks like. What is it that we could do, that we could collect, that we could donate as a community to support the youth that Hope for Homies is serving. So that's my mission when I'm there on Wednesday, is to get that information so that I can share it with all of you. Yeah.
I get to go back to work, but that's okay. My heart will be there.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Sherra,
yeah.
let's talk about your experience this week in the classroom, because we have a lot of moms here, and maybe there's a couple dads too that are trying to get their kids to engage in school,
Yeah.
or frustrated with how they feel school is. So would you be able to share a little bit about your experience of going to the classroom this week?
Yes. So I have had the opportunity to step into the freshman high school class, and this started last week, and it's been wow. Wow. So I last week alone probably I hope touched the lives of close to 100 freshman students. And it was really, really amazing. I'm trying to think of really the right words. It was amazing, and it gave me a really new look at what our teachers are working with every day. So when I stepped into this, interesting enough, I found out last week was the first week of this new semester. So these teachers were also on Zoom in their classrooms with brand new students, brand new class for the new semester. So it wasn't just me. And how we met all of our students for the first time was black boxes with names on them. And someone like me, and like most of us who are very, very in this work for the kids, we're very much people's people. I really, really deeply, deeply missed the connection that comes through body language, facial expressions, and eye contact. And It was a challenge. It was a challenge. It was even a challenge again today, knowing that I was walking into that. It was still a challenge. And so, what do you do with this? What do? You can't require these kiddos to have their cameras on. You can't require that. I mean, we're working with very diverse student body, and some of these kids are not comfortable with the conditions of their surrounding area to have their cameras on. Some of them are caring also for their siblings because their parents are working. So they're trying to do class while manage their siblings. And then come to find out that because technology and internet is not always so great for some students, that when the camera freezes, it never freezes looking your best. It always freezes in the most inopportune time. And kids like to screenshot that and use it as a way to bully on social media. So there's kids that also have a fear that their camera's going to freeze and they're going to be the victim of online bullying. For real, friends. This is where we are right now.
Hadn't even remembered that one. So thanks for that reminder.
So, and I share that because I have to remind myself of that and really come from a place of respecting that each of these children, youth, young adults, teens, whatever it is, there is a safety that comes from having the camera off. Okay, it's a protection for them. It's their guard. So how do I engage them? How do I engage them? Because I'm the person, when I'm facilitating, the kids are the curriculum. The kids are the conversation. I'm listening to them. I'm taking what they're sharing and I'm leading them in this conversation that they need to have because it's about them. Thank you for chat, and thank you Zoom for giving us some new reactions. Hello party horn, hello heart, hello yes no, like they've updated, right? And so because of that, I'm constantly asking them, give me a thumbs up, friends. Let me know you're with me. How about throwing up your favorite reaction for that one? Throw something in the chat box. And I'm constantly trying to keep them engaged through the chat and through the reactions. So because we know, though, that it's easy to hide behind the screen, I can't imagine these teachers, how long, I don't know how long they're on all day, but this constant energy it takes to engage these kiddos. And I'm using their names. I'm like, hey, Brian, send me something in the chat. Let me know. Let me know what your goal is. How about you, Amelia? How about you, Tyler? How about you, Dean? Like, I'm like constantly, I want them to know I see them. I see them. I know they're there.
Yeah, I want to jump in right there because that is really key. We need to find a way that these kids know that we see them. First and foremost, that is so important. Can you guys imagine being in a Zoom class with Sherra, her energy, how much fun that would be? That would be awesome.
Sorry.
It would be so awesome. But on the flip side of that, how exhausted were you when you were done? And you had 3 hours?
Today was 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 periods.
So I really want to acknowledge the fact that Laura and I apologize if I say it wrong, but Haidan, both have experienced this in their families with their children as far as bullying due to this platform. And that is horrible. And I know Laura personally, I'm sure it was addressed immediately. I know that doesn't necessarily help. I don't know Haidan, but it is horrible. So what are we going to do to, what do we do? I'm kind of curious, and people can put in chat, do you ask your kids to turn their camera on? Is that a requirement from home? Because some families it is, right? And
Mm,
some families, understandably so, it's not. And I would think the ones that their kids have been through a horrible experience, that it probably would not be a requirement. So what do you do for your kid to help them feel connected? Because this is really, it's just so hard. And those questions are being asked without any judgment at all, right? What you're
oh,
doing as a parent is the right thing. Um, and what's happening in your home might help somebody else, right?
yeah,
Um, no requirement in my house and not required by the teacher. And Stephanie, that's how it is at
yeah,
our school too. Um, and I totally get that. My son doesn't use his camera. Some of his teachers don't even know what
yep,
he looks like. And Lori, isn't that sad? Like your son, I'm sure is adorable. And I it would be wonderful if he could be seen, but I get it if he doesn't want to be. Laura's saying, I asked both of my high school students, but they are not secure enough since the bullying incident with Lacey. So it is a daily battle. Sometimes some may not be able to. And it's totally understandable.
yeah,
Um, Stephanie says, there is a kid in my daughter's class that is afraid for the teacher to see him. He is so shy. It's
yeah,
that's see, these are real feelings.
yep,
And Tanya, it's required by her as a parent and not at
yep.
the school. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like everybody is in a different place. Everybody has different thoughts behind it. And what you're doing in your home is okay, as long as you're finding a way to support your child through it. Um, we have cameras, we have our cameras on because we can. Yep,
Yep.
absolutely. But understand that some may not be able to. Yes, I read that one. Rachel, I wanted my daughter to have her camera, but after talking to her teacher and others, I realized I needed to let go. She is now turning her camera on during small group. She said she didn't like looking at herself. There's a whole
Oh,
nother layer of it, a whole nother layer of it. Um, big deal. Nick wants to walk around the house with his camera on, so we are all subject to being on camera. I don't mean to laugh, Joanne, but I just know how yeah, I've seen kids that do
yep.
that, and I've seen teachers that are very patient with that. And here's what it looks like to me.
Oh, I've
You
met
know,
a whole lot of family members in my other small groups because they all do have their cameras on in the small groups. And I saw somebody that is that yeah, Rachel shared that. I've met a
yeah,
whole lot of family members and pets. I love it. I love it. And Crystal, I think that what this conversation leads to is connections.
yes,
Connections. So social distancing has really caused a disconnection. And, and it's funny because it's not funny, but we say we're raising disconnected youth in a connected world, right? Because we have
hmm
the connections through social media, internet, and all those different things. But our kids are so disconnected really right now. So the conversation really comes around now is about connections because that is what we are all seeking, needing, thriving. Whether your kids can speak that, it's typically going to show up more in their behavior or their
yep,
actions that they're missing that. They may not know that's what it is, but because that is one of our basic human needs is connection, and you take that away from your kids. But we all know last week we all shared where we were all feeling, even we're feeling this lack of connection, social connection, human touch. I mean, just like hugs. Crystal got her
oh,
hug.
I did. I got my hug. The Hope for Homies, a young man met me and just asked if he could hug me. There was no saying no. I so forgive me, whoever needs to forgive me. I just said yes, and I let him hug me. And it was a true, genuine, I'm so happy somebody cares hug. I could have
Oh,
cried.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's the best hugger. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It
So,
was, yeah.
yeah, it was heaven. I got one too.
And the talking about connection and how it's our human nature. It's human nature to try to connect and have a connection, right? We had
Yeah.
kindergartners come to school this year, and if you think about it, they have not been to kindergarten really. They've been to Zoom. They have not been in the school. If they don't have a sibling that already goes to school, they have not even been in their elementary school because they started during COVID, right? And we met with kindergarten parents. We said, what can we do? What's happening with our kids? Um, you know, what is your feedback? And the feedback was the kids were saying things like, I want to meet my friends. I don't know my friends' names. I have friends now, but I don't know them because I don't get to go to school. When do I get to go play with my friends? Like it was all about the connection that they naturally knew they were supposed to have in kindergarten. We didn't teach that because we don't have it, right? So it is missing. It's a missing link right now.
It's so, and I have a story to add to that, and I hope that my dear chosen family doesn't mind that I share. But we have some dear friends who are family to us, and they have a little 3-year-old. And because of COVID, we only do porch visits. They will come and deliver, and we'll visit at the front porch. And then if we go to their place, same thing, we stand out at the front porch. And their little boy is 3. And he said something to his mom and dad since all of this, COVID and really being careful. And he said, Finney wants friends. It was something to that effect. Finney wants friends to come to his house and play. This is a 3-year-old who already knows and has a want because it's innate. Like that's the humanness in us. And he wants that connection. He wants those friends to play with. Like, so this is like from birth, people. This is from birth, friends. This is something we are all born with. We're pack animals. We're meant
Yeah.
to be and we're meant to be together. Even those of you that I know are introverts in my life, there is also though that component of needing each other. And then we'll go back, right? We energize ourselves, we refill when we're alone. But we do need that connection.
So what do we do with that? I mean, we're not
Well,
experts, we're just moms
no.
talking.
Yeah. And and Crystal, you've engaged me in a lot of really amazing resources. And I'm gonna butcher this, but I just recently listened to Shelley Moore, and we talked about her last week, and she does an amazing book club, and she has a YouTube channel, and she's talked a lot about this and connections.
Mhm.
And there is what she calls I can't remember, but car is what I think it is. And she talks about how to, in your home, really start working around connections. And C actually stands for conversations. So if you're sitting, with one of your kids or actually anybody, you're sitting there and you're watching a movie and somebody says, oh my gosh, I can so relate that to that. Stop the movie right there. That's a connection. Have a conversation with that person about what that sparked in them, what that memory was. That's an opportunity to reconnect with a connection. It's also about asking questions. Ask questions. I know my kids hated that they felt like I was drilling them, but make these questions be about them, about something that they like to talk about, something that gives them a relationship to a connection. So whether it's a memory about a friend, about a video game, something that they are engaged in, ask questions and let them ask questions as well. And then R is, oh, thank you. Crystal's giving me a cheater note. Relationship to
Did
the
I cheat?
connection. No, I couldn't remember what the R is, stood for.
Well, you said it. I got it from you. You actually said it.
Okay, and it maybe it's something else though. I don't know for sure, but it is. It's all about looking at the relationship to the connection. And connections are so important. And this is how we can nurture connections when we're not putting our kids into school, where
So
they're not having the in person. Mm-hmm.
intentionally, intentionally at home, we could think of car and do the conversation around it, around whatever the connection is.
Yep.
Asking questions, and the questions I either thought R had to be relatable to them, so it would cause interest,
Mm-hmm.
or relationship to the connection. And so that at least it gives us something to do, friends.
Well, yes. Well, and I think it's super valuable. And I share that only because, and I think I might have talked a little bit about this last week. You know, when I ask the kids that are showing up for group and they're showing up consistently, and I have one group that has been with me since the school closed. So we're coming on a year that these same 6 kids have met almost every week. Occasionally we have a week off or we have the holidays off, but, and I ask them, what is it about group that keeps you coming back? And they will tell me every time it's the social engagement. It's getting to be with their peers. It's getting to talk about what they're interested in. It's getting to talk about what they care about. It's getting to talk about worldly events. It's getting an opportunity to use their voice. And what I hear in that is that when we went from on campus schools to virtual schools, we lost that social connection. Yes, they have the academic connections, right? They're in the Zoom classroom and they have their teachers facilitating, but they lost lunch. They've lost recess. They've lost passing period. They lost the chit chatting in the library. They lost the chit chatting in places they shouldn't be chit chatting. That was me.
That
But
never happens.
excessively talkative. Can you imagine? That was on my report card all the time. Imagine that. So, I mean, but they've lost these opportunities to really engage. They've lost these opportunities to share. And so it's about finding those opportunities for connection. And we can do it at home.
We
We just
can.
have to be aware and look for those moments.
But Stephanie brings up a good point. I mean, I don't know if she was being funny or what, but she does talk a lot to her daughter about connections, um and she tells her she talks too much. Yeah, so did mine. My kids told me that too, but when my kid's able to tell me that I'm talking too much, means we're talking together.
Yeah,
Right? So that's a good thing. That means we did our job. Did I? I
that's
think I
right.
used that on my children. You're so mean. You're the worst mom ever. Okay, that didn't happen a lot, but it did. And I remember saying, I guess I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I got told it all the time. Why do you, I mean, I still get it from my kids and they're 25 and 21. They're like, oh my God, mom, like, shh, too much. Like, we don't need to do that right now. And I'm like, okay, not right now, but I'll give you 5 minutes and I'm coming back for you.
Oh, Sherra, you just totally gave me something I want to share with everybody. Um, the give me 5 minutes. What a beautiful tool that is. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes and then we're going to talk. I was able to share with a parent and a student that asked to meet with me, by the way, an amazing young man. And he just wanted to meet outside of his class. And, even though Zoom is what he complains the most about, it was on Zoom. And part of that connection, what he told me was, I'm like, what's the difference? And he goes, in class, I just have to stare at the squares, or I have to stare at the teacher and just listen the whole time. So when they do get the chance to talk, it does feel good. But anyways, um,
Mhm.
I told him, I asked him, what's going on with why do you get so frustrated when your mom is suggesting you go to class? And he's like, he goes, well, the typical young boy, I think, well, I don't like to be told what to do. We kind of process through that. Like I said, he's really amazing and willing to talk about it. And I said, well, what do you think your mom could do that would feel better? Because you obviously have to go to class. You're talking to the person at school. Like, there's no way out of that, right? Like, and he said, I don't know if she gave me a warning or something. I totally led him there and he bit. And I'm like, really? So if your mom said, hey, you have 5 minutes to get to class, would you go? And he goes, well, I would need more like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, so you need 30 minutes. And because in 5 minutes, you're not going to be done with that game. Like I got your language, right? And he's laughing. And I said, well, would you be willing to have a conversation with your mom about it? And he's like, yeah. And I said, okay, so this is up to you. This is your job. And, and we walked through it a little bit. I said, how are you going to do it? And I'm like, when you feel like it's right, you go talk to your mom and just ask, hey, mom, would you be willing to try this? Don't do it when she's asking you and you're yelling at her because that's not going to work. And by golly, I didn't know this would really work, friends. Like this was just coming to me as I'm trying to be creative, right? And he did go talk to his mom. And his mom, I didn't tell her, this wasn't like something that she and I planned together. I'm talking by the seat of my pants here. And she called me and thanked me. Like, I don't know what you talked to my kid about, but he has been amazing. And I give him a warning. Simple, just a warning. We don't have time for these warnings, right? We're always hurrying. But if you'd step back and give yourself the time, set a timer, whatever it is, he does not fight her. Now, will he fight her again? Is he fighting her today? I don't know, but it worked.
Mhm.
And it feels so good. It's just giving ourselves a moment, giving them a moment. I know it's different than I'll be back in 5 minutes for you, but it's the same kind of thing. It's time.
Yeah.
So I hope that that moment helps any of you. If, and if somebody in your life could talk to your kid and give them the opportunity to come to you with this great idea, I think that's part of why it worked. He bought in and it was his idea. And it really was. I didn't give him the words. I just helped him get there. It was such a great moment. Such a great moment.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, Rachel hears that she's mean at least once a day from her 7-year-old, and her 16-year-old just walks away. Okay, maybe that's really what it was like in my house, but I just pretend like it wasn't.
I know, and Heidi says the same. It's the same at her house. I'm assuming, Heidi, in regards to what Rachel shared, you have
Yeah.
one that's either you're mean or somebody's walking away, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Tanya just reminded Alexa to set a reminder for her to remind her kid to go to school. Woohoo! Someone's going to
yeah.
do it. Tanya's going to tell us next week how it went.
We're probably setting our Alexa off now.
Yeah, not mine.
No,
I don't know. Can
yeah,
hear me.
right, right. Yeah. So I think that like I'm really even though my kids are older, but I'm really like my focus too this week. And I have Tuesday in the classroom, I have Thursday in the classroom and Friday in the classroom. And then I have um, other things happening with youth that are not in a classroom setting. And I really, really want to make this I really want my focus as a facilitator and as a coach to really be about connections and really reaching my kids that I'm working with at how they can be part of that, right? And bringing their awareness. Because, like Crystal, I love what you shared, when you were working with this young man and his communication with his mom and him even having that ability to communicate with her what
Mm-hmm.
he needs. There's a connection right there. He
Yeah.
had a chance to use his voice. He had a chance to bring something to the table. He was heard, and there is a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was a beautiful moment. Like when I heard that I don't mean to say boys don't do this, but when he was like willing and strong enough to go talk to his mom about something that, it was getting him off his video game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm pretty proud of him. I'm very proud of him, and I tell him,
Yeah.
Laura brings up the opposite. She feels like she has done. I mean, I didn't read it like totally focused on it because we're all talking, but it sounds like she has given timers and she is giving time and she doesn't feel like she's being heard and they're not acknowledging her words. And that's really important to feel acknowledged. When we're acknowledged, we do more
Yeah.
or we do better. And so um, my thought on that, Laura, is, and we're going to have so many more conversations around this, but my thought on that is really setting them aside separately when they're not in the moment. Just like I told this young man, don't talk to your mom when she's yelling at you to get to class. So when you're not in the moment, take them aside and say, what do you need? Because that's what I asked him. What do you need? What will work? And know that it will change because they are teenagers.
Yeah.
And the first time you ask, they might think my mom's being weird. I mean, I actually know that you are very open and talk to your kids, but you know what I mean. Kids are like, why are we doing this? So you might not get the right answer the first time, but I would say, what do you need? How can I help you? Um, and yeah,
Oh,
I get frustrated and walk away really easily as well. But one thing that works for one is not going to work for the other, honestly. And something that I really want to be able to say tonight before we go, um, it, we're having a hard time as parents. This is hard, and I'm on both sides. I don't have kids in school, but I do think of these kids as my kids, and I also am on the teacher side as well. Um, and one thing that's really, really come to light today specifically is the pressure we're putting on our kids and the pressure we're putting on ourselves.
yeah.
And my personal non-professional opinion on this, by the way, any comments I say in this platform is not my work related. It's not work related at all for Weight Watchers or for the school district. And I want to be very honest about that. Nobody's teaching me or coaching me what to say. And I will leave work at work. But um, I want to say that for my own personal truth, we have a vision in our head of the way things should be and the way they should look, how
Mhm.
we should parent, and how other people should view our parenting. And sometimes I feel like there's um, a real high expectation on ourselves and our children for others. And I lived that truth myself. I have two wonderful children, and I think they really grew a lot from watching me care for everybody else's kids. But I had higher expectations on them, and I wasn't as understanding and relaxed at home with them because I wanted them to look a certain way, them to act a certain way, not to get into trouble. Um, to do their work a certain way. And that was all because of the picture that I feel society made me feel a kid should be. And there was a lot of pressure in that. And they weren't perfect children by any means. No kids are. And although I was okay with that, there's pressure there. And so, especially during these really difficult, and I will say dark because of dark screen times,
Yep.
we don't really know how the pressure is affecting our kids, whether we're putting it on them or not. I have heard of way too many kids talking about suicide, Not
Hmm.
in my school. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to put any alarm out there, but I I've heard it from my friends. I've heard it from other friends. We've seen it on
Yep.
TV. I just I want to talk about it. I want it to be normal to talk about it. I want people to feel okay to share it, and I want people to know that there's other people where they can ask for help. And so that's heavy, and I'm sorry to go heavy, but that's really what this is about for me. I want to be real. And the pressure is on you as a parent, and it's really heavy. And if there's anything we can do to relieve that by sharing something or having a topic or conversation around it, please put it forward.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's any way for this to come, and this could be a whole nother conversation, but I honestly am feeling like I want to give you permission as a
Mm.
parent, as a caregiver, as a family member caring for a student. I want to give you permission to stay in your lane. Like, it is okay to just be mom. It is okay to be grandma. It is okay to be dad. It is okay to just be grandpa right now. And I feel like what I'm hearing often, and Crystal and I have been talking a lot about this, we as parents or caregivers or family members raising kids right now feel like we have to be all the things. We're not just feeding them breakfast, but we're making sure they're doing their homework. We're double checking. They're making sure they're on their Zooms. We're doing all the things and trying to also continue our lives, whether that means we're working or, volunteering, doing all the things that we would typically be doing if our kids were in school. And I really, we have, if you coming off the Super Bowl, let's talk about having a team. Like, if you want to really, really talk about, what it looks like to have a team. So you've got your coaches. That's you parents or caregivers or grandparents. Like, you're the coaches. And then we have the players. That's our kiddos, right? And then we have that support staff, right? We have those assistant coaches. That's bringing in those that specialize in those specific needs. They have an offensive coach and a defensive coach in football. That's because that's their specialty. They're really good at that. So we've got our teachers, right? We've got our administrative staff. We've got our counselors and our coaches. Like, we've got this. And so I really feel like we need to start looking at what we have individually, family wise, as a team. And we really need to start tapping into that and looking at, where am I my best? Because, like Crystal said, we're all freaking tired right now. We are
Mhm.
all tired, regardless what role we have on the team. We're tired. And we're tired because we're doing it all. There are teachers out there that are so freaking afraid of failing their kids, the kids that they're serving, because they're struggling with the platform itself, but it's what we have. We've got parents that feel like they're failing their kids because they can't get them to sign on. They can't get them to be doing their work. Like, we all just need to take one big worldly deep breath and drop our shoulders, let a little bit of it go, and remind ourselves that we too get permission to be mom, to be grandma, to be caregiver. We get to stay in our lane, and it's okay to stay in our lane. It's too hard to be all over the highway.
I'm really disturbed by what I'm reading, like not against the people that are writing it, but this is really upsetting.
No.
And these are the things that people need to see. And so if there are resources out there that you have, share. Like we have that people are really trying to find counselors, are really trying to find resources, and they're not, it's just not easy.
Wow. For 2 months, Heidi. Oh
And
my
then,
God, you guys. And
yeah. And
Tanya,
then, like Tanya says, unless you want to pay $150 a week, I shouldn't even put in the word want to, because she didn't put that, that unless you pay $150 per week.
right, right.
And, and Tanya might be able to do that. But what about the family that can't? And why is it so much? Why? I can go to the dentist and get my teeth cleaned because my insurance covers that. Why are they not covering my mental health? Why? Oh, that's a whole nother hour. Sorry, friends. I just won't even get into that.
Yeah, yeah.
It
I
does
do
feel
know.
impossible.
Yeah, I just referred someone, a family I know, to a counselor, and they called me back and they said we can't. She isn't. Her practice is closed because she's full. She doesn't have room to take on any more clients, and all I could do was almost cry because she's been my main resource, and I'm hearing this repetitively.
Well, something that
I
I
mean,
guess I would recommend
yes,
is
Tanya.
reach out.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure, Tanya. Kids' mental health should be available. Kids' mental health should be top of the list right now. I can't even say top because our grown-ups who are taking care of our kids should be top of the list too. Like it is a problem. And what I would say is for those of you that are looking for something for your kids, yeah, find something, a group that they would be interested in. Having them be in something, not, and even though it's not the counseling, is keeping them accountable, is keeping them feeling important.
Yep.
Because if you're in a group that you connect with, you do feel important.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, same
Yeah.
goes for drug and alcohol rehab, long
Yep.
waits, and insurance doesn't pay. My parents paid $12,000 for me to go to a 5-week inpatient 11 years ago. Many people can't afford that. And I have to say, so many people don't make it the length of time that it takes to get in. So many people don't have the money to be able to do that. And I just thank your parents that they did have it and they did wait and that you waited and you survived it, right? I mean, you are a beautiful mother to two beautiful children, a beautiful wife. I just can't imagine it different.
Yeah.
Actually, shame on me. I can't imagine and I don't want to imagine. And um, so much unpacked in that. Um,
Lori, okay, the Everett Clinic has a program for children and adolescents.
they do. And I actually
Good
know
to
some
know.
kids that are involved. Yep. Yep. I do have some kids in my life that do go there.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey, I just got to give a quick shout out to Naomi, my friend from Texas. She's in the house. Hey, Naomi. Yeah. Laura, and he's begging for help. That's okay. I'm gonna be super raw here. I've that's been my world. And when they're actually asking and they're willing to take the help and you can't get it for them, there is nothing that breaks a mama's heart
mm.
anything any more than that, because they want the help and you can't get them what they need. I can't even, I feel you so greatly from one mom to another right now reading that. It's absolutely the worst. Yeah.
I don't know if this is an option. I don't even know if this is a ridiculous thought. But what about these colleges that are training counselors and psychologists? Is there a program within the colleges where people that have gotten to a certain point, they have to do so many hours of stuff, like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
practicum.
trying to, yeah, like something, I wonder if there's an area to go there. I mean, obviously, if it's way extreme, you want somebody that's licensed. I'm not suggesting people not go to licensed people. But right now, in the baby stages, we have a lot of kids right now that are just now breaking, right? If we could
Yeah,
catch them before they're broke, I guess
right.
that's a good way to say it. I wonder if there's a program in the colleges like that that we just don't know about, that we haven't heard about. Um,
Mhm.
I do know it's not counseling, but I do know our Sherra here runs some amazing groups for youth that is as a life coach. And so I whatever we can do to get these babies to hold on until we can get the help they can get. And that's for you guys too.
Yeah.
You did what with the school, Tanya? What did you do? Tanya may have a resource. Leave it to our Tanya.
She's
She does not.
resourceful. Yeah, yeah.
She's a mom that does not take no for an answer. So I am curious what she means by that.
And thank you, Lori, for throwing out Justin Steffner's name as a resource at the Everett Clinic. That's great. Thank you.
Okay, so they were in their final year. So she went to, it looks like the colleges in their final year, interning at the elementary. It's hard if you are 11 or 12 because you're in middle
Yeah.
school. Is that what you're saying? They don't do it in the middle school? Well, let's get it in the middle school. What can we do? Sherra, who are we calling tomorrow?
Oh my God. I don't know, but all I know is the middle school years. I mean, come on. Do you remember the middle school years? I
That's a
mean,
whole nother show.
that's a whole nother show. It is. Yeah. And it's really, really, it's a time that we all seem to have a challenge in those years. I mean,
Mhm.
we're growing into our bodies and there's hormones, and I mean, there is so much going on in ourselves. And then you bring in relationships, from friendships to family to it's just, it's, if we could support our kiddos in that time, especially, we could be making the, yeah,
Life-changing moments right there, right?
yeah, yeah,
How can we
yeah.
get the skills to our kids to survive? Oh,
Thank
which
you,
brings up a
Lori.
yeah, totally. Which brings up a whole nother thing, by the way, you guys. When you are hearing or you are feeling that you are getting the message that your kids are failing because of this
Oh,
platform, I want you to take that and throw it away.
yep,
That is BS. Our kids are not failing. Our teachers are not failing our kids either. You are not failing your kid as a parent. What I want you to know, my personal belief is that a lot of what we learn, we actually learn just naturally. It's just going to happen.
mhm,
We're still going to learn. Okay. I still think school is valuable. I'm not saying that. School is a place for
yeah,
social, school is a place to learn to tidy up the academics, right? But we're not behind and we're
yeah,
not failing. Enough of that talk. Our kids are going to be fine and we are going to get through it. We just don't want to hear that anymore. Because once we start talking about failing and failure, no matter who you are, that's when we start going down the I'm not good enough and I'm horrible.
yeah,
And if we feel that as moms and grandmas and dads and uncles and aunts, the people that are talking around our children are feeling like they're going to let you down on top of being a failure. We can't
yeah,
do this anymore.
yeah.
We have to encourage ourselves and our children. And whew, sorry, it's just I can't listen to that anymore.
No,
We're not behind. We are all in a pandemic. This sucks to the extreme. We are going to get through it and we are okay. What do you
yeah,
say, Sherra? You tell those kids you are perfect and whole just the way you are.
yep.
You
That's
are
what
going
I
to be
tell them.
perfect and whole just the way you are when we come back to school.
Yep,
That is what it is.
yep,
Big, big, big stuff.
absolutely. Yep. I mean, yeah, there's nothing to add. That's exactly right, Crystal. Exactly right. Nobody is failing. Nobody is failing. And I think that goes exactly back to giving yourself permission.
Mhm.
And there's, I mean, there's a million things we should be giving ourselves permission for right now, but I really, I just, yeah, hold that space for your kiddos, knowing they're not failing. Because if you come in with that energy, Nobody's failing. Your kids are going to feel that. You're going to see, they're going to feel that sense of relief in you. And our kids are such energetic beings. I mean, I think you all know this. Like, if you have had a day and you don't even have to speak it, your kids are going to start chomping and biting at you because they're energetically picking up from you that you're agitated, right? And then they become that way. And so if we can start really supporting ourselves, and I want to say thank you to all of you that are on here and all of you that are actually will watch the replay, because what that means to me is that you're saying yes to you. You're
Yep.
giving yourself permission to show up and support yourself as the mom, caregiver, grandmother, father, grandfather, whatever role you have in a child's life right now. You're giving yourself permission to be you, to show up and get the support you need so you can bring it back into your home, back into your classroom, back into the environment that you hold sacredly with your kiddos.
Yes, we are not failing. We are surviving. And we are
That's
going to
right.
survive together. We are going
Yeah.
to survive this together. We are a team now. If you are here and you are willing, we are part of this team.
Yeah.
I almost could have cried too, Laura. So you know how it is. I want to give a little tidbit in 2 weeks, I think it is. We have invited somebody with an amazing story that talks a lot about the struggles that some of our kids have or could have. And we haven't planned out the absolute when, but our hope is in about 2 weeks. And so our goal for this, you guys, is to be here when we can. We chose Mondays because typically people talk like Mondays are hard. I love that we're starting on Monday and it gets me through the week.
Yeah.
But our goal is to be here when we can, encourage if we can, share whatever we find. It's really about you guys. So you're all your sharing is really what's going to help others. But on the first Monday of every month, I think that we're going to try to have a guest come talk. I know that Sherra has talked to about, if correct me if I'm wrong, Sherra, because I really don't want to say this wrong, but somebody has said that they would be willing to come talk who has lost a child to suicide. Is that, was that the case? Did you tell me that? No? Okay, I might have that wrong, but I thought that
Okay.
that's what we had talked about.
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And that will be a really hard conversation, but I think it's important because as people shared in our chat, they're feeling it, you know. But this gentleman that wants to come talk has overcome some obstacles in life and he has the mindset and attitude of I'll show you. And so I just wanted to put that out there that just so you guys knew what our intention was. We will hopefully be here on Monday nights, but our true intention is the first Monday of every month and to be very intentional and bring something pretty valuable and hope that you guys feel that.
Yes. Sorry for my confusion, Crystal. You are correct.
That's okay. That's a big
My
deal.
relationship with Debbie is her work around grief and supporting families, and her story comes because of her experience losing a child. And so, yes, Debbie absolutely wants to join us and share her story and share the work that she does and that she's doing to move through grief and about having real conversations about suicide. Because there's this belief that if we talk about it, that we're going to plant the seeds and ideas in people's mind or our kids' minds. And it's actually the not talking about it that is planting the seeds. And so we do need to shine a light on this. So
Whew.
it's 7 o'clock, friend.
I know we were not planning on being longer than a half an hour, but this
No.
was very, very powerful. And I appreciate every minute, every chat, every comment, the whole deal with all of you. So
Yes.
thank
And
you.
I just want to end you all with also a thank you. A thank you for showing up. A thank you for being consistent. A thank you for being in the lives of your children, the children. I mean, these kiddos are our future. And what I want you to take away from this conversation, and there's a ton of takeaways, but if nothing else, please take away the fact that you are perfect and whole, exactly as you are. This journey is not easy. We're all doing it. We're all walking it in our own way. There's nothing about you that needs fixed. Give yourself permission to take a breath, drop your shoulders, be mom, be grandma, be caregiver, be you.
And smile while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I think I just noticed, I figured out what her name is. It's Heidi Ann, isn't it? It's
Yes.
Heidi Ann.
Yeah.
Oh my. Hey, saying the
Yeah.
name correctly is so important. It just
Oh,
took me a long time.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I
I
love you,
feel your hug,
Laura.
Laura.
I'm hugging you too. Yeah. Thank you
I
for being
feel
with
it.
us. And thank you all of you for being part of the conversation. You know, we're going to close off, but please know that you can continue this conversation. Resources, support, giving each other a heart, right? It's about connections. And I really feel that that's something we've just gifted all of ourselves
Yeah.
within this group tonight. We gave ourselves the gift of connection. So keep loving on yourself, keep loving on each other. We all need that. Have a
Take
blessed
those
night.
resources. Yep.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.